All right. With the preface that I don't know how this technology is going to work today, I am trying for the first time to record a video segment and then place it into a different podcast. Audio listeners, you guys are never going to know any different because that's easy for me, but I'm very excited to try it. And more than anything, I'm just excited to talk to our guest today, Ryan Ward, host of the Jello Jigglin Podcast, and of course, a reporter at LakersNation, covering the Lakers. Ryan, what's going on, man? First of all, love the Chick Hearn reference as a play-by-play guy. Any Chick or Vin Scully reference, I will drink to that. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just waiting for the end of this disastrous season.
Well, we don't know when the end's going to be. Do you, before we get into like the nitty-gritty of Lakers stuff, what do you think they do when this season? I mean, they're a play-in team. We know that much.
Right now, yeah. Right now,
you think Houston's going to catch them?
I don't know, man. Stranger things have happened, and they keep. It's like I call them the Jekyll and Hyde Lakers because you just don't know what the hell you're going to get from night to night, right? It's like one night they play amazing basketball, the next it's like they forgot how to play defense completely.
Yeah, I was at the Thunder game where LeBron. No, it was that one after he scored 40,000 against Denver, right? And then they won the next one against the Thunder.
Yeah,
they were guarding people for like the last 46 minutes of that ball game. It was astounding. And then it's just gone the next night.
It's you know what it's like? It's like this is gonna sound so bad.
No, now you gotta do it.
Well, like you're a father of how many kids? You have
two children, yeah. God help me.
2 kids, right? So it's like trying to teach kids, right? And they get it one day, and the next day they completely forget everything. Right?
Yes, and there's no logical explanation as to like, wait, didn't you do it this way yesterday? Like, what? Did something happen? Did you get? Did your brother climb into your bed and hit you in the head in the middle of the night, and it just gone? Which possible, I don't listen. I don't know what's going on.
They make basketball look like golf sometimes, like just extremely difficult to play. I'm like, it's a game. Like, come on, defense is not that hard.
Well, that's actually a great segue to my first question, which is the only way to save the defense to get any of these injured players back? And you read the tea leaves more than I do. Are any of these guys coming back? Because like CBS had a report earlier this week that they weren't. And then the Lakers were like, no. That's premature. What is reality at this point?
Well, it could just be the Lakers being like, oh, no. They might come back just to keep you watching. Right.
Yeah.
But it seems like every week it's a different report saying that they're done for the year. Oh, there's a chance they're doing on-court work, blah, blah, blah. It's just, I remember when Vando went down the last time, and I'm like, that's it. He's done, right? It's just, there's no time to get him back and then get him 100%, And I think he's like the heart of the defense outside of Anthony Davis, right? If you have those two together, healthy, playing 100%, then it changes everything. But if it's just leaning on AD all the time, they're just not good defensively.
Yeah, well, like at that point, you're leaving Anthony Davis on an island. So
right,
and then you get to all the stuff that everybody's been complaining about, which is like, why do they give up so many threes one day and then open rim runs the next day? It's because it's like, well, Anthony Davis can only cover one or the other. Someone else has to do something. They
don't have great on-ball defenders.
Right.
They just have a really good guy in the paint. That's it. I mean, LeBron used to be that guy, but he's not anymore.
No, and I feel him because I'm a year older than LeBron, and I can't move laterally at all.
Yeah, but you don't spend what $1.5 million on your body.
That's
right?
what you think.
Yeah,
but I spent zero. How much did this yoga mat cost? I spent $22 on my body this year. Yeah,
so, and there's Cam Reddish who has flashes of good defense, but he can't stay healthy. I think he's returning tomorrow finally, but I don't think that moves the needle at all. He's not a game changer.
No, because he can't catch passes on offense. So you sort of
and he can't finish at the rim, which is amazing to me as an NBA player.
Yeah. So is anything? I guess the big looming question is, does anything change for this team over the final 3 and change weeks of the regular season? I know folks that are watching my show are like, well, how does that sort of connect to fantasy? The question is, if there's a change, could someone else emerge? But it really sounds like it comes down to whether or not they're being truthful on Vanderbilt and or Gabe Vincent. And you sound skeptical. Am I reading between the lines?
Well, because I know I've been covering this team for a long time, and I know the kind of BS that they throw out there just to keep people interested. Like, they've probably known forever that, Vando's not coming back or Gabe's not coming back. But was it yesterday or the day before? There was a report that came out that said Gabe Vincent is intent on playing a game again before the regular season ends. And if I were him, that's a smart move by him because the fan base hates him already just because he's not on the floor.
Yeah, we're feeling those Kendrick Nunn vibes again, I think.
Exactly. They're comparing him. It's like the same damn thing. Comes from the Heat and then just everything falls apart on his body.
Yeah.
Which is terrible because I think that guy's a good dude and I think he'd really help the team if he was healthy. But he just a bad string of luck, But that seems to happen with the Lakers every year in this LeBron era. It's like they lose 2-3 guys consistently throughout the whole year, right? And for the first time in a while, it's not AD or LeBron getting hurt.
Yeah,
it's everybody else.
Which I guess, sorry to jump in. I guess that's good news because if it was one of those two guys, they'd probably be 6 games under 500.
Oh man, who knows?
Or worse,
who knows how bad they would be?
Like,
but
sorry, go ahead.
From a fantasy perspective, AD's probably pretty up there, right? He kind of checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, top 3, which is pretty awesome to see him upright this year.
Overall, or
overall, yeah, because he's actually he's number 4 on a per game basis, because Joel Embiid is up in that top group, but he obviously hasn't played in a while.
Right.
And so you move him out, and Anthony Davis is the number 4 player in fantasy because he's missed only 5-6% of the game so far. That's amazing for him.
Not many. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
It's incredible. And how bad have the Lakers been in the games he's missed?
It's so unfortunate. It's like you finally get what you want, but you still don't get what you want ultimately, right? Like the overall picture is just still blurry. I don't.
Yeah.
I think I speak for all Lakers fans when I say I'm over this. I'm over this. I would prefer them just to blow it up and start from scratch.
Well,
because this is what it's going to be. This is it. It's not going to get any better. And if they go and trade for, say, Trae Young, which is what I would think they're going to do in the summer, I don't see that being a real game changer either.
Let's talk about that, actually.
Trae's a winning player.
How does that trade, if it could happen, how does it materialize? Because I admit I don't know anything about how the trade machine works. Who would they have to give up? What does that team end up looking like?
I'm sure they'd have to give up quite a bit. Like Austin Reeves, D'Angelo. I mean, quite a bit. They'd have to. That's the thing. They're going to gut their depth for another star. And it's like that didn't work with Westbrook. And you're going to bring in another guy who has to have the ball in his hands the whole time. He's a great player, but I don't think he's a winning player, right? He's been in Atlanta for how long now? And they've been the exact same team ever since he got there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's ever been a team that's more consistently middle of the road than
right. Yeah,
but it's that same kind of, like, some of these guys have a high floor and a low ceiling, and if you're comfortable with that, okay. But historically, Lakers fans are not comfortable with that.
No. Well, Lakers fans are never comfortable with anything.
Good point.
There's always something to complain about. But I guess that's what happens when you win 17 titles, right? You become a bit entitled. I'm sure Celtics fans are the same, and other big markets are the same. New York, I couldn't imagine covering New York. Man. I mean, they're finally looking up, but damn, how many years of just despair?
Yeah.
It's going to be rough.
Talking to Ryan Ward LA on Twitter, at Ryan Ward LA, again, host of the Jello Jigglin Podcast on the BLEAV Network. Okay, so unfortunately, the news, I think, is nothing is probably changing. Let's talk just for a second about D'Angelo Russell before we wrap things up. He has been, both from a reality and a fantasy standpoint, a pretty exciting and really nice surprise this year. And I personally, and everybody that watches my show, they know I'm sort of like a pragmatic Laker fan. I don't go draft them in fantasy sports unless I think there's a value to be had there. And D'Lo ended up being one. And I've kind of fallen in love with the dude. His post-game interviews are great. He's like the most chill guy to hear. Nothing bothers him anymore. Have you sort of become a D'Lo fan like I have over the last year?
Yeah, because I covered him when he came to the Lakers the first time, and that was rough to say the least. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
surprised Kobe didn't get on him as much as I thought he would. But that last season, Kobe's last season, he got tore into, and the year after just got worse with the whole Nick Young thing, and his immaturity was so obvious and so bad, especially in the locker room. It's like I told this story recently where I said, like, I remember one night I was in the locker room and we're all huddled around D'Lo's locker at the end, like, most of the guys had left, and he's like laughing and giggling, telling the same kind of like stupid joke over and over again to try and get a laugh, and it's just crickets, right?
Oof.
No player, no reporter, no nothing wanted to give him anything, right? And I'm like,
Ouch.
and I'm thinking to myself, this guy's done. He is done. The second that they can trade him, he's out, right? Sure enough, that's exactly what Magic Johnson did the second the season was over. Out. But Brooklyn Nets for Brook Lopez and a pick that turned out to be Kyle Kuzma. But I never thought he would change. I just thought he was just going to be this cocky um, kid with no self awareness for the rest of his career. And then he comes back and he's a completely different guy. It's like he just got humbled. In where was he? Brooklyn, Golden State, and then
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah, I mean that's got to humble you, right? Where
Well,
nobody
just
wants you.
age, sometimes you just have to
That too.
be older.
Yeah, and he's got a kid now and a wife and all that. So he's a completely different guy, and you could just tell from the way what he says in press conferences now. He's an intelligent kid, you know,
Yeah.
and he channels all that negative energy into playing on the court, and you could see it. It's so obvious. Um, so I've been loving it. He's been saying the right things. He's gotten the respect of AD and LeBron and the rest of the guys. So I think he's got a bright future in LA as long as he doesn't flame out in the playoffs. Because in LA, like
Yeah.
all it takes is a week of really bad basketball, and you're back in doghouse, right? Nobody
Yeah,
wants
it can be rough. Do you think he
it.
wants to well, he's got what, the player option on next
Mhm.
year. Do you think that's something he considers, or do you think he's gonna go try to get a bigger contract? The way he's played lately, I feel like he's looking for something bigger.
Oh yeah, I think he'll do just what LeBron's going to do: opt out and look for a long term deal, right? Look to get paid, and it just depends on. I think the Lakers situation's so 50-50 with everything, right? Like
Oh, yeah, because you're just
LeBron,
talking about with the Trae Young stuff too, that would
yeah,
play a role.
like if that it probably hinges on that. If they get Trey Young, they bring the band back together and probably let D'Lo walk, right? Um, but if they don't, then who knows? Like
Yeesh.
literally, who knows?
What a
Because
what a terrifying hellscape, Ryan.
oh, it's bad. I mean, it's bad but good, man. Because I do feel like it's time for a change. Because we're beating a dead horse here. Like this, it's the same results every year, and everybody keeps going back. Oh, the bubble championship was like, man, that was 2020.
Yeah,
Like
can you
we've
believe
had the
it's been that
same.
long?
I know it's kind of crazy, but it's been the same results every year since then. And all I keep hearing is just wait till we get healthy. It's like this is it, man. This is what you
Yeah,
got. This is what you got to deal with. And if you can't do it now, it's not going to happen. So it's
yeah,
like it's. But the thing is, LeBron brings in so much money, right? It's just like Kobe at the end of his career brings in so much money that it kind of business sense. It kind of makes sense to resign him just to keep making that money.
oh,
But
of course.
you're gonna piss everybody off because you're not gonna do anything different. It's just gonna be the same results. And I think LeBron's lost a lot of Lakers fans recently just because he's not really moving the needle that much.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that somebody putting up those numbers isn't really moving the needle that much. But yeah, I mean, I think Doris Burke on a recent broadcast, and then we'll I'll let you get back to your day a little bit here. I think she said something like, and it was the most broadcastery, super kind way of putting it. She was like, I think the quote was, LeBron is the third most steps efficient player in the. She said something like that, and I was like, oh, she basically said that he moves the least, the bottom three in like terms of actual movement on a basketball court. But that's the thing,
I'm
like
not surprised.
that's how you have to play when you're 39 years old. He's an android to be able to do the things he's still doing, but he can't
True.
just have guys on defense every night. That's just
Mm.
it's not feasible. But you know what, damn it, I'm going to keep watching and I'm going to keep hoping for more fantasy value to squeeze out of these guys. Ryan, thank you so much, my man. I appreciate it. This is really exciting. I'd been following you for a long time. It's really cool to get you on the show.
Yeah, no problem, man. I enjoyed it. Do it whenever you want to do it, man. I'm down.
And we shall, because as we all know, Lakers playoffs and offseason are also generally somewhat interesting. He is at Ryan Ward LA on social media, host of the Jello Jigglin Podcast, Lakers show on the BLEAV Network. Ryan, thanks so much, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
No problem.